Hi, I'm Sandy Genovese and welcome to the Ellison Education video series. We're going to be looking at how students can gather data for charts and graphs in order to understand and interpret information. In fact, if you look at this example, let me hold it up. This is a birthday graph and it shows the months of the year that the students in one class, what months their birthday falls in. This is an example of a scatter plot, and we're going to start by making the graph itself, this blue area that has the grid that we need for the graph. So I'm going to take the graph die, and because this in itself is not going to be large enough to reflect all 12 months, I've just folded a large piece of construction paper, and I'm going to be able to cut two pieces at once that way. As you know, in the Big Shot Pro, you're able to cut 5 pieces at once. So this is no trouble to go ahead and cut through 2 of these in order to get 2 that I'm going to overlap to make the graph. When I bring the paper over, you'll see you end up with, in this case, even more than I need. This reflects more than the 12 months. So I've taken one here where I've already used the perforations as a guide to trim it, and then I can simply overlap it on the spot where I want it to overlap so that it reflects the 12 months going this direction on the x-axis and the 10 groupings of students on the y-axis. When you look at the other thing on the chart, let me pull this up so that you can see, the other thing to notice is all of the points are marked with these circles. This is really something that is quick and easy to do. Here is 12 circles on one die. So by putting 5 pieces of paper in the machine, I'm cutting 60 circles at once, which means it's very easy for you to cut not just enough for a graph for the class, but every student could have all the parts and pieces to make their own graphs and their own charts. Once they're placed down, you can see either by looking this way, or if you look here at the data table, you can see that since the x-axis indicates the months, in the month, for instance, of March, 3 students have a birthday. So I come back over here and I can see, well, here is the month of March, and yes, sure enough, 3 students have a birthday there. If you took all of these points, because of the way they're positioned in this example, this is an example of a scatter plot. You could have a bivariate graph if you went to the class next door and you cut a different color of circle, and you on this same graph, you charted out or you plotted out the birthdays of a second group of students, and then you compared those colors and the points that would be marked on the graph to the purple ones. You can also do things like take ribbon or take yarn, string. You can figure the best fit line simply by placing this so you have it touching the greatest number of points. This would be the best fit line, and because it slopes up, that means that it has a positive relationship. All of these things are so helpful and so handy to do in a visual way. Even if your students are not, if English isn't their first language, it is such a hands-on visual way to do it. It is just great. You know, my mom used to call me scatterbrained. Even so, I would have no trouble mastering a scatter plot when it was presented on a birthday graph just like this.